Hello everyone. So here we are once more at We the Learners. This is Dr. Muhammad Abid Malik, and today we are going to talk about citations and references. Originally I was thinking to have this lecture about literature review because I think that was the natural progression from the topic. We go move on to literature review, but a lot of you were talking about, they were questioning, they were asking about references and citations, especially since the APA 7th edition has been released just recently in October. A lot of you wanted to know, what are the changes, what are the citation styles, what are the reference styles, so on and so forth. So, based on your feedback, based on your suggestions, and based on your queries, I have decided to record this lecture on citations and references as per APA style 7th edition updated. Here we go. Okay, now today's lecture is about citation styles as per APA manual with updates from APA 7th edition. Before we move on to the lecture, let me tell you one thing. APA manual is not about citations or references only. It is a very, very rich book that talks about different aspects of academic writing. It talks about language, it talks about grammar, it talks about punctuation, it talks about vocabulary, it talks about so many different things. So if you're ever able to get your hands on this book, you're strongly recommended and advised actually to go through it. It would definitely improve your academic writing a great deal. Having said that, let's move on to the lecture. Whenever we are talking about citation or reference, the first thing that would come to the mind is what are citations? What are references actually? Now, citations or references are basically the sources where the text, idea, or information is taken from. For example, you're writing a paper about leadership, and you give a definition of a leadership. So citation would be the source from where you have taken that definition, right? Now, once we have known what is citation or reference, the second question that comes to our mind very logically, or it should come actually, what are the purpose of citation? Why is there a need for citation actually? So, there are basically four main purposes of citations. First and foremost, to give credit to the source where the idea or information has been taken from. Now, this is very important. That person who presented that model or definition or theory or whatever, he must have put in a lot of effort for that. So when you cite that person, you kind of give credit to that person. You kind of appreciate that person, appreciate that source for its hard work, its contribution actually. The second, to make it clear what has already been done. Again, very important. I'm giving a definition of leadership, It is a lot better to give some other definitions of leadership as well so that the people may come to know what has already been done, what other people have been saying about it. In this way, its advantages or benefits or even purpose is similar to that of literature review. Number three, to allow reader to go to the original source. Now, for example, I'm talking about online and distance education. And in my paper, I have just briefly, very slightly touched any model of distance education. Maybe the reader is really, really interested and he wants to explore more about that model. When I cite that source, when I cite that research paper or book where I took that idea, where I took that model from, I'm basically opening the door for my reader to go to the original source and explore further, So it is very, very important in improving the knowledge and improving the opportunity, increasing the opportunities for the reader to learn more, to go to the original sources. Number four, to show that you have done sufficient reading. Now, this is again quite important. You might have heard quite often that once you submit your proposal, once you submit your thesis, or even a research paper, sometimes your teacher or somebody says, well, there are not enough numbers of citations or references. So what's the meaning behind that? What's the purpose behind saying this? The meaning is that you have not done sufficient reading for this level of writing. Maybe for your dissertation, PhD level dissertation, you need to give a lot of citations and references, but it seems you have not done that much reading. So when you put in a lot of citations, when you use a lot of references, you're basically showing to the people that you have done sufficient reading about your topic. Okay, the next one is when to cite or when to use references. Uh, First and foremost, which I believe is the most important, is whenever you are using original quote. Original quote means whenever you are using the original words of another writer. Whenever you are using original text that you took from any other source, right? Now, that original quote can be single word, it can be a phrase, it can be a sentence, it can be a paragraph even. Whenever you are using original quote, not only you should cite, you should also give the page number, right? We are going to talk about this in detail in the coming slides. Number two, paraphrase. What's the meaning of paraphrase? Paraphrase means when you rephrase the idea or the word of somebody in your own words, right? Now, what is the purpose behind paraphrasing? Why should we cite when we are paraphrasing? When you paraphrase someone else's idea and you do not cite that person, it means you are doing any kind of academic dishonesty. It is similar to you have taken something from someone else's bag, and you have put a different wrapper on that and presented it as your own. So when you are taking the words or text from any other person and you want to rephrase it, even then you should cite it. The next point is quite similar to this one. It is using idea. Whenever you are using idea from any other research paper, you should also cite that, give credit to that person. Otherwise, it will be a kind of academic theft actually. Another point is that whenever you are using data or information, now this is very important again. The thing is that, for example, I have taken data from UNESCO source about gender parity in literacy. I should cite the source of the data so that the readers can go to the original source and verify the data. Or reader can go to the original source and may use the same data, And finally, whenever you are summarizing, somebody has come up with some kind of idea or a research paper or something like that, you are summarizing that. In that case, you should also cite. Again, this is very similar to using the idea as well, because when you're summarizing, you're of course using the idea of somebody else and you're kind of rephrasing it. Now, type of citations. There are mainly two kinds of citations. Number one, in-text citation. The citation that you use in the body of your research paper, in your article. Yeah. They usually contain only authors' last names and date. And if you're using lifted text, if you're using original words from any other source, in that case, you should also write the page number. The second is that reference list, which is at the end of the thesis, dissertation, or research paper. Now, that contains complete information, author's name, year of publication, it contains article title, journal name, volume, issue, DOI, and everything like that. We are going to talk about it in detail in the coming slides. Now, before we move on to how to cite, the last point that I want to discuss with you is that APA is not the only citation or references style. There are three main reference styles or citation styles used in academic circles. First is APA, which stands for American Psychological Association. It is used in education, sciences, psychology and sociology, along with some others actually. The second is MLA, which stands for Modern Language Association. Now, MLA style is used in humanities and primarily in languages. I mean, those who study in English language actually, who are studying English language and they want to write a research paper about anything in English, they use MLA style. The third is Chicago style. It is used in business, history, fine arts, and sciences. Here we will be talking about AP style only. Okay, so far we have been talking about what, kind of thing. What are they? What is the purpose? What is the reason? Blah, blah, blah. Now we are going to talk about how to do it. Now, first and foremost, whenever you want to cite a research paper with a single author, for in text, if it is continuous text means you are using the citation at the start of the text or in the middle of the text, then the writing style would be you're writing the last name of the author, and then after giving space in small brackets, you're going to write the year of publications and then close the bracket, right? Secondly, sometimes it happens that you have written a whole sentence and after that you are giving the citation, in-text citation. That is also acceptable. For example, in the same kind of situation, in the same case, we can also write it, previous research defined shared education as activities. Here, in-text citation would be after the sentence, you give space and then small bracket, the last name of the author, comma, space, and then year of publication. And then you close the bracket, small bracket, and then give the full stop, right? In references list, how we are going to do? The last name of the author, comma, then you would give the space. Now, this is very important. Often I have seen people not giving space over here, which is wrong actually. And then the initial of the first name, full stop. Again, you would give a space, then initial of the second name, and full stop. Then again you would give a space and then in small bracket you're going to write the year of publication, right, which happens to be 2017 in this case. After that you give the full stop, right, and then after giving a space you write the name of the research article. No bold, no italic, nothing like that. The name of the research article in full, and then you put the full stop over there. Again you will have to give a space and then you have to write the name of the research journal in which that article was published. In this situation, the article was published in Social Sciences and Education Research Review, right? Now, the journal name will be in italic. You can see it over here very clearly. After that, give a comma and then again space. Then you write volume, which is again in italic, and then in small brackets you give issue number. Issue number is not in italic, but volume is in italic. Again, this is very important. You need to keep this in mind. Then give a comma again and then the page number. This article started from page 6 and it continued till page 29. So we are going to write 6-29 and then full stop. That's it. Okay. Now, this is the basic protocol. If you are able to understand it, if you are able to pick it and learn it, because this is the basic foundation, in all other styles that we are going to discuss in the coming slides, there are a few variations here and there, but the basic structure would remain by and large the same. Okay, now the second situation can be that you're citing a research paper with two authors, In that situation, in text would be, when it comes to continued sentence, it would be Malik and Liu, you can see we are using A and D and the word, not that sign and, And after that, after space, would start the small bracket, the year of publication, which is 2018, small bracket close, and then you continue with the sentence. If you have to write it at the end of the sentence, like we did before in the previous case as well, example, it would be previous research, and once the sentence is finished, we would start the small bracket, first author's last name, and sign. Here, see the difference please. When it is in continuous sentence, we are writing A and D and, but when it is in within the small bracket, we are using and sign, right? And remember another thing, there is no comma before this and sign, right? Second author's last name, then you put comma, and then comes the year of publication, and after that you close the bracket and put the full stop. In references, it would be again the same style, first author's last name, comma, then initials would come there exactly like I said before, and then what is important, and please note it over here, after the initial, the last initial, which is A over here, A, full stop, we put a comma over there. Before and sign, we are going to put a comma, and then we give a space after that comma, right? We are going to give a space after that comma, and then will come and sign. After and sign, again space, and then the second author's name in the same way. Last name, comma, space, first name initial, and then full stop. And then you give the space again. And then you would start the small bracket and 2018. Then you close the small bracket and then you go to the full stop. Again, in the same way, article name, no italic, no bold. After that, full stop, after space, journal name in italic, and then comma, space, your volume is in italic and issue in small bracket without italic. And then after comma, you put page numbers, full stop, and then you are using the link actually. Sorry, you are using DOI. Now, there is a small difference how you write down DOI in APA 6th manual and 7th manual, that we are going to talk in the coming slide actually. Okay, when we are citing a research paper, 3 authors with the same work. Now in text, the same Malik, Sang and Lee, exactly like we did the 2-1. And when it comes to when we are citing it at the end of the sentence, again, the reason I gave it separately is because there's a very, very little, a minute difference that often people overlook. When it comes to 2 authors, an in-text citation at the end of the sentence, it was first author, space, and sign, space, second author. But here you see it is first author, comma, second author, comma, and sign. The difference you should realize and see over here, we are giving a comma before and sign. Whereas in 2 authors, we are not giving comma before and sign. Rest of it is exactly the same. I made a separate slide over here only and only so that you can see that little difference, because again, people mix it actually. 2 authors and 3 authors, they do it in the same way. It is the same, almost all of it, but there's a very, very light difference. That is, before and sign, even in in-text citation, you are going to put a comma, right? Okay, the rest is actually the same. I'm not going to explain it further. Okay, now, if there is a research paper in which you have got more than 3 authors, what are we going to do with that? Now, previously what would happen, APA has updated its manual, it has updated its writing style in 7th edition. First, let me tell you, previously what would happen, that first time up to 5 authors, 3 to 5 authors would be written with all names the first time, afterward only first author and et al. Was to be written. But now APA says that if there are more than 3 authors, then from the first go, from the first mentioning, from the first in-text citation, you should write first author name and et al, right? Now, as I just read it from here, write first author and et space al full stop, from the beginning. For example, Wilson et space al full stop 2018 said. Or if it is at the end of the sentence, you are going to write it as it has been mentioned over there. Rest of it is going to be exactly the same. No difference whatsoever. Okay. In reference list, what is going to happen for up to 20 authors? Again, this is different in 7th edition. In 7th edition, for up to 20 authors, you need to mention the names of all of them in reference list. For up to 20 authors, if there is a research paper with 15 authors, 16 authors, 17 authors, you need to mention the names of all of them in reference list. For more than 20 authors, you need to mention the names of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then give these, 3 dots actually, and then you need to mention the name of the last author, right? This is, I mentioned, rest of it is going to be the same. I mean, the article, title, how it is going to be given, the journal name, reference, volume, it is going to be the same as in the previous slides. Okay, now having talked about the research paper, we are going to talk about how to cite a book. Now, book is a little different. In text, it is the same as research papers. No difference actually. In reference list, previously it was the author's name, exactly the same as in the research paper, the last name, comma, space, initial of the first name, and over here there should be space after the full stop actually, which is, it's a mistake over here. And then the initial of the second name, full stop, space, year in which that book was published, full stop. Now here the difference comes. Previously, when we were talking about the research paper, the article, the title of the paper was written in simple, no bold, no italic. But the book title will be mentioned in italic, like qualitative evaluation methods. And after that, what you are going to do, you are going to write the publisher's name. Again, what I'm going to mention over here, there is one difference actually. The difference is that previously we used to write the name of the place where the publication company is or where the book was published from. But according to APA 7th edition, we only write the name of the publisher. We do not need to write the name of the city where the book is published from or where the publication company is, right? So you can see previously Newbury Park, California, CA was mentioned over there, but in the new style, only publisher name, publication company name is mentioned over there. Okay, citing a magazine. How to cite a magazine? Authors' names are going to be there exactly in the same way, but the difference you see is in year. In here you can see not only the year is there, but after comma, month is also mentioned. And then title of the article is mentioned over there in the same way. And then name of the journal in italic in the same way. Its volume and issue and page number exactly in the same way. The only difference is that whenever it is a magazine, after year, you should put a comma and then mention the month as well. Okay, now we are talking about, because nowadays there are more and more online journals. Whenever you are talking about an online journal, then how to cite it actually. Again, we are talking about the differences actually. APA has updated its citation style for online journals in a slightly different way, Well, there's a very subtle variation, very subtle change actually. Author name exactly the same. Again, like we said before, for magazines, year and month will also come. Article title, journal name, exactly the same thing. Previously, before writing the online, link, we used to write retrieved from. Previously, whenever we were mentioning any online source or journal, before mentioning the link, the hyperlink, the link, we used to mention retrieved from. But according to the new APA manual, 7th edition, we have no need, there is no need to write retrieved from. So what we are going to do, you can see over there, there is a volume, there is issue, after that we put full stop and then just put the link. That's it. Okay, whenever we are citing a newspaper article, how to do that? Again, author name in the same way I'm not going to mention, but because newspapers are uh, printed on daily basis, you see the year is that, after that comma, and then month, and then date is also there. This is because newspapers are published on daily basis, right? And then in the same way, the title of whatever the column is there or whatever the thing is there in simple text, newspaper name in italic, and because the pages are usually multiple, if the page is one, you don't need to mention anything, right? If there are multiple pages, then you should write PP and then full stop, space, and then page number. In case of an online newspaper, again, author name in the same way, year, month, date in the same way. The only difference is that instead of page number, if there is page number, we are going to mention that, but we are going to give its online link. That is again very important. For online newspaper, we must mention its link, but there is no need to write retrieved from. Previously, we used to write it, but now with APA 7th edition, there is no need to write that one. Okay, the next one, citing a chapter in a book. Again, in reference list, it would be author, name, last name, initials of the first name, the same thing, exactly the same. Now, after the year, title of the chapter or entry, then full stop, then you write and after that, editor name. And then whatever, editor 1, editor 2, editor 3, if there is one editor, we are going to write only one editor. 2, we are going to write name of both first and second editor. If there are 3, all 3, using the same pattern and protocol that we have used before. And after that, if these are editors, we should mention EDS. If there is one editor, we only write ED and full stop, in bracket. And then title of the book, from the chapter, from where the chapter is taken from. And then in bracket, we'll write PP and then full stop and the pages. Now, the pages from where that chapter or that entry starts from, and the page till the page, the last page actually, right? And then the publisher name over here. Okay, now we are talking about thesis, dissertation from an online database. Again, if there is a thesis or dissertation from online database, then what we are going to do basically, first and foremost, the student who presented their thesis, his name would be given in the same way, year in the same way, the topic of the thesis would be in italic, as you can see over here. And after that, write in small bracket, doctoral dissertation or master thesis, right? And then the name of the institute or university, full stop, and then you need to mention its online link. For any kind of data set that is taken from any, corporate organization, from any international organization, or any kind of online source, if the author's name is not mentioned, for example, there is so much data available on UNESCO site, but in some of the cases, there is no author name actually. Then you need to give the name of that organization. For example, over here, Pew Center, in full stop, year, and then the title of the data, whatever it is, and then data file and code book if there is any. And after that, you need to give the link, the online link. Okay, having talked about some of the more commonly used citations. Now, this is not an exclusive list. It does not contain all, it does not talk about everything, but the problem is that you can see that already I think it is half an hour or so. If I had put all the different citation styles, there must be a lecture of like 4 to 5 hours long, and I don't think you'll be able to bear with me, and I don't think I would have had enough stamina for speak for so long. So that is why I just put some of the more common ones. So here what we are going to do, we are talking about some of the common tips actually. If there are multiple authors during in-text citation for the same idea actually, you need to separate them with semicolon. For example, Wilson, comma, 1997, semicolon, Watson, comma, 2007. Maybe they both said, for example, the point is education for women is as important. Some researchers said that education for women is as important as education for men. And maybe this thing has been said by multiple authors. So for that, we separate the multiple authors in in-text citation with semicolon. Number 2, arrange multiple in-text citations chronologically in reference list alphabetically. For example, you can see in the previous example, I have put 1997 first and 2007 later. Similarly, when it comes to references, then the last name of the author that is written first, all the references would be arranged accordingly, alphabetically. Okay, when the date is not given, then you simply write N full stop, D full stop. Both of them are small. Keep that in mind. Okay, still next. Okay, in-text citation, multiple works of the same author for the same idea. For example, maybe somebody, for example, Professor Mark Bray, he has written so many articles and books on shadow education. Maybe you're talking about some idea about which he has written multiple books and they are saying similar things. So how to separate that? You would simply write the example that I say, Bray, comma, and the years in which those articles or books were published. You don't need to write Bray, sorry, in this case, for example, you don't need to write John, comma, 1999, semicolon, John, comma, 2003, semicolon. No, simply write the last name first time, comma, and then all the years in which the work had been published. Okay, this is not very common. If an author's first name is hyphenated, it does not happen that often over here in the subcontinent actually, but in European countries it is quite common. In that case, retain the hyphen and include a period after it in in-text citation. For example, if the name is John hyphen Smith Lord, right? Then we are going to write Lord, which is the last name first, comma, and then space J full stop hyphen S full stop, right? Okay, for multiple works of the same authors in same, now sometimes it happens that one person has written 2 or 3 papers in the same year about the same topic, and when you are giving references, it gets a little confused. For example, if Wilson has written 2 papers about the same topic that you want to mention in the same research article, to distinguish them, to separate them, you need to write A, B, C, small letters with a year. For example, Wilson 1997 A, Wilson 1997 B. Okay, still more. Okay, page number is compulsory, absolutely essential when any text is lifted. That must be given. I told it before as well, in inverted commas, or data is given. For example, some researchers called it too complicated. No, if the too complicated is lifted from the original text, then it should be in inverted commas, and page number should also be given in this way, P full stop and then the page number. Another thing, for less than, we are talking about uh, the lifted text, the text that has been taken from the original source as it is. For less than 40 words long lifted text quotation, it should be continued with the same line, uh, John 2018 said, comma, inverted comma, start, and then give whatever you want to say, whatever has been lifted actually. But if there is a quotation which is 40 words or longer, in that case, it should start from the next line without quotation mark. And on the left paragraph, it should be indented. Give a tab over there, right? So here we are. Thank you. Yeah, I realized it was really, really long and yeah, quite tiring as well. I hope you will not find it tiring when you're listening, because sometimes listening is a little relaxed. You can sit back, enjoy. You can pause. You can this and that. But continuous speaking, it's really, really, yeah, taxing. Anyhow, thank you very much to all of you. And again, if you like this video, if you like this presentation, uh, the information is given on this page over here. The name of the channel, We the Learners. If you like the video, do subscribe to the channel and please press the bell icon so that whenever there is a new video, you can get the notification. And one more thing, please, the last one. If you like the video and you think it was beneficial for you, and maybe it can be beneficial for some of your fellows as well, do share with them. Sharing is caring. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye. Hey, sorry, actually there was a little mistake and I just want to correct it. When you're citing a chapter in a book, then the title of the book will be in italic. For example, look at the example. The name of the author, William A. Then the year comes, then name of the chapter, without bold, without italic, in simple text. Then you write the name of the editors, and when you're writing the name of the editors, it goes in reverse order. Normally it is last name first and then initials of the first name or the first names. But for editors, the initials of the first names will come first and then the last name. And then when you're writing the title of the book, it will go in italic. I did not mention it when I was giving the presentation, so I thought it better to make this small slide to tell you about this correction. Thank you very much. Bye bye.